today I wanted to talk about Assassin's Creed Mirage. I'm a huge Assassin's Creed fan. I've been playing it since I was a kid, and this is the newest installment. Now, I had mixed feelings about this game when I first saw it on the in the trailers and stuff. I wasn't sure if it was going to be just like a reskin of Assassin's Creed Odyssey and Assassin's Creed Valhalla, which I thoroughly did not enjoy. The last Assassin's Creed game that I enjoyed was Assassin's Creed Origins. And I think Assassin's Creed Origins is the best of the RPG trilogy. And a lot of people will disagree with that, but at the time when that game came out, it was very fresh. It was a new take on Assassin's Creed, so I welcomed it. And I thoroughly enjoyed it, man. The world was so fun to explore. I mean, it's ancient Egypt. It's fucking awesome. Everybody loves ancient Egypt, dude. Especially probably males. The same thing with the whole fucking Roman Empire meme. The same way, ancient Egypt is so cool and so mysterious. It was so fun, man. You can come across tombs and stuff that you can explore and things like that. Find treasures. I thoroughly enjoyed it. The story, I liked it a lot. I really liked Bayek as a character. He was super cool. That beginning cutscene, when you first boot up the game, where he assassinates that first guy, is so cold, dude. So cold. That cutscene is killer, dude. I love that cutscene.
You are the Mirage from Siwa. I thought Mirage was supposed to protect the Pharaoh. I am Mirage to no Pharaoh. You see this? I can read my own name, Nat. We will find you. We will find you in your sleep. Sleep? I never sleep. I just wait in the shadows, and I will kill you all. Everyone who sniffed the air that day in Siwa.
But I love Bayek as a character. I love his story. I thought the story of the game was great. Not as good as other older Assassin's Creed games, obviously, but it was good, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. I played that game a lot. I actually 100%ed it on Xbox. But then Assassin's Creed Odyssey came out, and it was the same thing, except it was ramped to 11. There was an assload. I feel like Assassin's Creed Odyssey is the game that I realized I saw why everybody made fun of Ubisoft when I played Assassin's Creed Odyssey. Because when I played Assassin's Creed Odyssey, when I first opened up the map and looked at everything, it was just so much. It was so daunting. And it's not like when you think of a game like Elden Ring and you're like, oh my god, look how big this is. There's so much to explore. That's kind of all you put onto it. And you do it organically. But with Assassin's Creed Odyssey and Valhalla and Ubisoft, it's like a to-do list. It doesn't feel organic. You're just going to place to do the task. It doesn't happen like an actual exploration, so it doesn't feel as good. It's not as rewarding. And the story of both Odyssey and Valhalla, I did not enjoy nearly as much as I did as Assassin's Creed Origins. So with this game, with Assassin's Creed Mirage, I was on the fence about it because they were marketing it as a return to tradition, but then I saw the multi-assassination kill thing they had going on, and I felt like that was kind of weird, the teleporting. I felt like that was weird. I wasn't sure how to feel about it. So I wasn't even sure if I was gonna get it or not, and if I was gonna wait. But when it came out, I saw that it was only $50, and I'm waiting for Spider-Man 2 to come out. I'm not really playing anything else other than Mortal Kombat 1. So I was like, you know what? let's give it a try. Let's give it a try. It's only $50. They say it's a return to tradition. Let's give them a chance. Spider-Man 2 is like a week and a half coming out. Let's play it. So I start playing it. And the first, I will say, I actually ended up really liking the game. I think that it's good. I've seen a lot of mixed reviews on it. Some people like it, some people don't. Obviously, that's the case with anything, but it seems like very divisive. Some people either hate it or they really like it and they think it's one of the best newer Assassin's Creed games, which I would have to agree with. I definitely think in the last 4 Assassin's Creed games that have come out, Mirage and Origins are definitely the top 2. It is definitely a return to tradition. It felt very much similar to, if I had to compare it to other Assassin's Creed games, I would say it's a meld of Assassin's Creed Origins and Assassin's Creed 1, because this is around a similar time as Assassin's Creed 1 when the Hidden Ones were just starting, or the Brotherhood, the Creed. And if you played the first game's kind of like an experiment game to see if players liked the play style and the atmosphere and stuff, and they did, and that's why they made the whole series. But there was like bureaus in each city, and then there was like investigations you had to do. It's very similar to that. So it is a return to the earliest of tradition, which is the first game. And I think it matches well. It wasn't as simple as the first game. They expanded on it, which is good. They didn't just say, let's take the format of the first game and then just plaster it on here and put new graphics on it and then call it a new game. They changed it a little bit and made it feel more fresh, but keeping to the roots of original Assassin's Creed, which I did and very much enjoy. Another thing that I wanted to touch on was the parkour and the movement in the game. This is another thing that I've seen a lot of divisive things about, because with the newer games like Assassin's Creed Unity and Valhalla and Odyssey, it seems like some people really like the parkour in those games, specifically Unity. But I gotta say, I'm not really a fan of it, man. I like Assassin's Creed Unity. A lot of people use that as like the gold standard of parkour in Assassin's Creed games, but I don't really like the parkour in that game, man. Like everything is so like flashy and fixed in like very aesthetically pleasing animations that like if I try to do anything simple, it like forces me into this like animation of doing this like super extra shit when like all I'm trying to do is just reach up 2 feet and grab a fucking ledge. Like, and it'll like yeet me off to the side or anything, or like anything like that. I just found that it was very annoying, and it was like, I like the more simplistic parkour. I feel like I have more control over it, and you know, there's still things in there that I think are really pleasing to. It's a feeling thing, man. Like, I didn't feel like I was doing the things that my character was doing with Assassin's Creed Unity and the newer games. Like, I felt like I was just watching it. But like with the older games, I feel like I'm actually really controlling everything my character does. And so I enjoy that more. And I understand that people, you know, like the newer ones more because it's more flashy, it's more aesthetically pleasing, you know, and things like totally understandable. And at that point, I feel like it's just preference. But for me personally, I like the parkour style of the older games, and they kind of did that in here in Assassin's Creed Mirage. It was more old school. It was a little bit dumbed down, not as flashy, but still fun. It was very fun for me. You know, this is a bare, like, basic look at Assassin's Creed game. It is the most essential Assassin's Creed game, I think. Like, when you think of all the elements of Assassin's Creed, I feel like this game has it, and it doesn't try to do anything too crazy. I think that long-term Assassin's Creed fans will like this game, and I think that newer Assassin's Creed fans will not like this game. That's how I imagine it going in its lifespan. You know, this game is definitely going to get overshadowed by Spider-Man 2 as soon as it comes out. I mean, I haven't even seen that many people talking about it, and I know, like, I've seen a few videos of people talking about it and stuff, but like, nobody's really talking about it that much, you know. And because I think people are just sick of Assassin's Creed's formula and Ubisoft's formula. You know, and if you are sick of that formula, then you probably shouldn't get this game, because it is kind of the same formula, But because I like Assassin's Creed so much, because I like the atmosphere so much, because I'm kind of a history guy, like I enjoy playing it, you know. And the stealth is really good in this game. It's very fun. And so yeah, but I enjoyed it, man. I think that the story was good. It left me guessing. It wasn't predictable. I thought it might be. At the beginning of the game, you know, things happen and you separate from your friend Nihal at towards the beginning of the game. It's not a spoiler because it's literally at the end of the tutorial that this happens. And by the way, the tutorial is like 2 hours long. So I was a little worried when I first started playing this fucking game because like an hour and a half, hour 45 in, I was like, I'm not even like, it was like an hour and a half in and I was like, I'm not even like free yet. I was like, I'm still doing like mandatory tutorial shit. So I will admit that at the beginning I was like, I don't know if this game's it, man. But once I started getting into the free world and was doing my own thing, and I started really enjoying it. I would say my two biggest gripes are that like that whole beginning section where it's forcing you through everything and setting up the story is pretty dragging. I can see where that would push a lot of people away from the game of playing the first hour and a half to 2 hours and it just being that like tutorial content. I could see someone in the middle of that going like, man, this game's fucking boring, and then just quitting and not playing it again, which sucks because it does get a lot better. But I do see where that could be a problem. And then my second gripe is that the main missions, I feel like are very anticlimactic. I think that, you know, the one thing that I think Ubisoft and the Assassin's Creed team is, in the old games, there was these unique missions that would happen that really made the pace of the game feel good. Like, it was a nice change to what you had been doing for the past several hours of just going around and climbing and assassinating people. Like in Assassin's Creed 2, for example, when Leonardo da Vinci builds you that wingsuit and you have that whole mission where you're dodging the arrows that everybody's shooting. You're like, they're like, flying demon! And they're shooting arrows at you, but you got to stay on top and go to the bonfires to raise up all the way into the palace or wherever you went. Like, that was a very cool like mission, and it was very different, and I really enjoyed that. I feel like Assassin's Creed doesn't really do that anymore since the RPG games started coming out, and I think they need to go back to that. I think that change of mission, that change of gameplay really stuck with a lot of people. Like, that's a very iconic mission, I feel like, in that game. And the missions in this game, that's one thing, but the missions in this game, it's weird because like I said, I really like the atmosphere, but whenever you're like, if the objective is to kill this person, you work through the network of the enemy, the hidden or the Order of Ancients, and you're killing all these top people, but like the build up to it is good with all the different missions, investigations leading up to the mission where you assassinate that person. But then the final mission, I feel like, is so simple. It's like you just go into a place and they're in like a compound and it's just like, kill the person. And there's not really anything special about it. It's just go into this compound and kill this person. You don't have to be stealthy. You can do it loud if you want. You don't, there's like a little option where it'll give you like, oh, don't take damage or don't get caught, or like, it's like a little optional thing, gives you a little more XP, but that's it. There's not a lot of variety. You can make your own variety. You can throw a fire barrel on them. You can throwing knife them. You can poison them, whatever. But the mechanics of the mission, there's only a couple that are unique. Most of them end up just being, oh, they're in this place. Go in that place, kill them. You know, that's usually what they are. And I feel like that's kind of, after a while, you kind of start expecting something a little more unique with each mission. And I think that is one thing that is missing, that I think they should work on and try to brainstorm, you know, different ways to make, whenever you finally get to that mission to where you assassinate this top person, that it's a little more eventful. It's so that way it's like all the missions that you did building up to to investigate and expose this person, you find out who they are, you get intel to where they are, and then that final mission I feel like should kind of go with a bang and be like, that mission was pretty fun. you know. And the gameplay does help this a little bit, just because I really like the gameplay of Assassin's Creed. But I do feel like they could put more into the mechanics of missions to make it a little more eventful. Those are my biggest two gripes. But as far as pros, I think the story was good. I think the game looks great. It sounds fine. The atmosphere is great. The combat's great. The stealth is great. I honestly didn't use the multi-assassination mechanic very much. I depended more on just my throwing knives and actually assassinating them. But I want to talk about the story, because the story in the last previous couple games I feel like has been pretty lacking and kind of boring. But this story intrigued me because it kind of like waterboarded you with some things, and you're like, what is this? Like, Basim is haunted by this genie in his dreams, and it starts getting so bad to where he starts seeing it in the real world and stuff. And you're like, what is this genie? Like, what does this have to do with the story? Like, so it gets you thinking, and it gets you intrigued, and then at the end you finally find out what it is, and it's like this big moment, and you find out who Basim is, and it's like it was satisfying in the end. It wasn't actually climactic in the end. I enjoyed the ending a lot, and I feel like it was good. The game is shorter than most Assassin's Creed games, because the team that worked on this game was a smaller team, and they didn't have as long as they would have on other games, like, you know, Odyssey and Valhalla. But it was a smaller team, so that's why there's the smaller amount of content. But I don't think that takes away from it. I think it's a nice little, and like the fact that it was supposed to be DLC is another matter. But I feel like going into that, you would expect it to kind of be bad because it's supposed to be a DLC, but I think that they extended it and worked it in a good way. I think that it's good that this game came out on its own, because I feel like it's good that it was separated from Valhalla and Odyssey. I think that that's good. I think because of that, they were able to change things like the gameplay and the mechanics and things like that. I feel like that led to them going to their older roots, and I think that's a good thing. So, I thoroughly enjoyed the game. I like Basim as a character. I feel like he's very likable, and then at some points he's not. You know, I feel like he's a very good dynamic character in that sense. You know, at some points you're like, you're stupid, and then other points you're like, yeah, I could see like thinking that. And, you know, I think the conflict of him between the Order of Ancients and the Brotherhood is good. I feel like that's a good dynamic. And it left me intrigued in the story and wondering what was going to happen, which is always good. So, overall, I think that it is a good Assassin's Creed game. I think it's the best Assassin's Creed game we've gotten since Origins. And, yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed it. I have about 30 hours into it. I beat it yesterday, last night. And I think it was great, man. I'm glad I bought it. I'm glad I played it. It was much more enjoyable than the two previous games. And I'm looking forward to what they're going to do in the future. I hope they don't go back to the RPG. I'm really sick of that, and I feel like a lot of people are. Because Assassin's Creed games have kind of just turned into this massive to-do list of things, and it doesn't really feel like a AAA game. It just feels like a to-do list and fetch quests, which is annoying. So I hope they keep going on this track that they are. I think that they did something good with this game. I think that it's a step in the right direction. So those are my thoughts on it. Let me know what you guys think in the comments about it. If you've played it, if you enjoyed it, if you hated it, whatever. You know, I'm open to whatever opinions you think. And yeah, overall, I'd say I'd give it like a 7 out of 10. I think, like somewhere between a 7 and 8. I think that's good. Like a 7.3, 7.5, somewhere around there. But I enjoyed it a lot, and you know, I would definitely, if you're a long-term Assassin's Creed fan, I would definitely recommend it to you. And if you're a new Assassin's Creed fan, I think that you should still give it a chance, but I would understand more if you didn't like it. If you're a new Assassin's Creed fan that is more used to the RPG games, and those are the first games of Assassin's Creed that you played, I feel like that's definitely understandable to think that it's not as good as them when those are the first games that you were exposed to. But as someone whose first game they were exposed to was Assassin's Creed 2 in those older games, this hit home for me. It was a return to, you know, tradition, a return to the originals, and it rubbed me the right way. I enjoyed it a lot. So yeah, those are my thoughts on it. Assassin's Creed Mirage. I thought I would hate it. I didn't, and it turned out to be a pretty good experience. So I'm looking forward to seeing what they're going to do in the future. But yeah, I'd give it a 7.5 out of 10. I would play it again whenever I get that Assassin's Creed itch. And yeah, so let me know what you guys think about it in the comments. If you liked it or not, if you hated it. And I'll talk to you guys later.